Chapter 302A3 Forbidden Lands. The crowd was shocked at what they heard. The mortality rate of the orthodox and demonic battlefield was so high. Only some old men sighed secretly. They knew that Huang Tao was right. The orthodox demon battlefield was a meat grinder. Only the strong could survive. This only proves your incompetence. Suddenly, a cold snort came out from the crowd. The crowd couldn't help but look over, but they saw a teenager wearing golden robes, looking at Huang Tao with disdain. Little Jin, Kang Chon frowned. The person who made the sound was none other than Xiao Jin. Perhaps because he was not used to seeing Huang Tao's conceit, Xiao Jin was very antipathetic towards this person. Huang Tao's icy cold eyes looked towards Xiao Jin, his gaze as sharp as a blade. Xiao Jin similarly gazed at him, his face full of disdain. The atmosphere in the arena was immediately tense. What about the person who dares to offend the war vein in the orthodox demon battlefield? Is it really a newborn calf who is not afraid of tigers? Even though fellow disciples are not allowed to kill each other, but in the orthodox demon battlefield, anything can happen. These newcomers are all arrogant one by one. When they experience the brutal war of the orthodox demon battlefield, they will know that here, there is no such thing as a genius. There are only the strong and the dead. The crowd whispered in low tones. There were those who gloated, those who were silent, and those who were full of sympathy. Huang Tao coldly gazed at Xiao Jin, suddenly laughed out loud, and said in a cold voice, "Kid, you are very arrogant. Then prove to me what you can do." After saying that, without waiting for little Jin to reply, he swept the crowd in the large hall and said in a deep voice, "All of you follow me. Before we set off, it is necessary for me to know your true strength." True strength. Some of the new rivals were filled with doubt. In the Thousand Blade Valley, there is a special place to test your strength. Although those who dare to come to the orthodox demon battlefield have at least the peak of the 9th layer of the Yuanying stage, there are also 3 levels of division in the Yuanying stage: the King, Emperor, and Invincible levels, which need to be tested in order to be known. Some old men explained. HMPH, just what I wanted, condescending and arrogant guy. Let's show you Master Monkey's strength, Little Gold sneered. All right, let's go too, Kang Chon faintly said. At that moment, along with Huang Tao, the crowd came to a glorious palace next to them, where people came and went, very lively, comparable to the dark gold peaks Power Zhuan Palace. "Hey, Kang Chon, Xiao Jin," I inquired. "According to those old men, there is a forbidden system set up by the war elders here, which can test the exact strength of Yuanying stage and Outblood stage powerhouses." Niu San came through the crowd and whispered to Kang Chon and Xiao Jin. "A forbidden system set up by Elder War. That's something to see." Kang Chon revealed a look of curiosity as he sniffed. The crowd came all the way through the straight path and entered the grand hall. Inside the hall was as wide as a square, and the noise was incomparable. At a glance, there were tens of thousands of people. Within the hall, there were hundreds of huge white light curtains displayed around the hall. Huang Tao pointed to the light curtain on the left and said, "Each of you go up and attack these light curtains with all your strength. If the color of the light curtains remains unchanged, it means that you only have the strength of peak Yuanying stage and below. If it turns silver, it means that you have Yuanying stage king level strength, while gold represents royal level, and if it shows 7 colors, it is invincible level." Upon hearing this, the crowd instantly understood that these curtains of light were the prohibitions set up by the War Elder. The left side was for testing Yuanying stage cultivators, and the right side was for testing out-of-body stage powerhouses. "Kid, dare to be the first to test." After Huang Tao finished his explanation, he suddenly looked towards Xiao Jin and said coldly. When the crowd heard this, they couldn't help but look at Xiao Jin curiously. They also wanted to know, is this teenager who dared to contradict Huang Tao really had the courage? Kang Chon was indifferent and speechless, although Wang Tao's words were a bit impulsive. He could see that this person did not have any malicious intent. It was just his character that made him so. "Why don't you dare?" Little Gold snorted coldly as he walked towards a light screen on the left, proudly saying, "Watch with wide eyes. Master Monkey's strength is not something you can underestimate." Boom! As the words fell, Little Gold fiercely went berserk as he executed the third style of the fighting fist, Battle Heaven and Battle Earth, and blasted out at the curtain of light in front of him. Immediately, a roaring sound rang out, and the light curtain erupted with a blinding golden light. The entire hall was instantly plunged into silence as everyone stared dumbfounded at Little Gold. Before the light curtain, even Huang Tao was dumbfounded for a moment. Yuanying stage imperial level. And looking at that dazzling golden light, it's clearly the peak of the imperial grade. This teenager only has a cultivation at the 5th level of the Yuanying stage. He's definitely a genius, and a supreme genius at that. Within the main hall, some of the Heavenly Dao sect disciples who were testing were also attracted by the blinding golden light that erupted from the light curtain in front of Xiao Jin's eyes. They could not help but be shocked one by one when they saw Xiao Jin's cultivation level. Little Jin's strength turned out to be so strong. Niu San was also shocked. It seems that the cultivation in the volcano has strengthened Little Gold's strength a lot. Kang Chon didn't have any surprise. Back then, after Xiao Jin's tribulation, he already had the strength of a Yuanying stage sealed emperor when he was tested at the Force Hall. And now reaching the peak of the emperor level wasn't impossible. How? Little Gold looked satisfied with his strength as he strutted back, looking at Huang Tao proudly. Huang Tao was stunned, and it was difficult for him to speak for a moment. The crowd didn't discuss any more at this time. Little Jin's strength shocked them, and with this kind of talent, as long as Little Jin didn't die, in the future, he would definitely be a great person who would be famous in the orthodox demon battlefield. Although the disciples of the War Elder lineage had a lot of power here, to the absolute geniuses, this power would be useless. Little Jin, looking at the strong and unforgiving Xiao Jin, Kang Chon drank. As a disciple of the same Heavenly Dao sect, he didn't want to get into trouble with Wang Tao, and there was no hatred between the two sides. HMPH, Xiao Jin didn't dare to contradict Kang Chon, and after a cold snort, he walked behind Kang Chon and said no more. The crowd couldn't help but look at Kang Chon in surprise. This purple-clothed young man with an extraordinary aura was able to make a peerless genius. So submissive. He must have come from an extraordinary background. They couldn't help but wonder about Kang Chon's strength. At this time, Huang Tao also came straight back to his senses from the shock. He looked at Xiao Jin and exclaimed, "Senior brother's strength is extraordinary. I apologize for my previous words." The crowd was surprised that Huang Tao would apologize. It was really surprising. Xiao Jin was also a little surprised, and looked at Huang Tao in surprise, as if he was reacquainting himself with this person. "All right everyone, let's continue with the test. You guys are lucky. This time with a genius like junior brother Jin following you, your chances of surviving will increase a lot," Huang Tao said to the crowd. The new disciples froze, not knowing what to do, while those old men understood Huang Tao's meaning. And at that moment, one by one, they came over to climb into friendship with Little Gold and Kang Chon. "Junior brother Xiao Jin, my name is Lin Yong. I am a disciple of the Guardian Elder lineage. In the future, if there is anything you can order, senior brother is obliged to do so. Junior brother Jin." These people became very enthusiastic all of a sudden, even some of those who had spoken coldly before. At this moment, they also came over and climbed into friendship with Little Jin. Of course, with regards to the mysterious Kang Chon, these people were even more in awe, calling out one mouthful of senior brother after another. In the Heavenly Dao sect, the seniority between disciples regardless of cultivation time, was only based on strength. Xiaojin was instantly confused. It was difficult for him to accept such a scene. But he has always been a big man. When he heard the crowd respectfully address him as Xiaojin's senior brother, he was instantly incredibly excited and said, patting his chest, he said, "I'm not sure if I can do this." Patting his chest, he said, "Don't worry, follow me, little Jin, you'll be absolutely fine." Kang Qian was speechless, directly leaving little Gold behind with Niu San. Leaving this place, Xiaojin appeared to be very excited and thrilled, and a group of newly received junior brothers were there, bragging about the spirit sealing space, straight away shaking these people into a frenzy. To senior brothers, "Aren't you going up to test?" Suddenly, a familiar voice rang out. It was Huang Tao, who walked over and smiled at Kang Qian and Niu San. Perhaps it was due to Xiaojin's strength. Huang Tao's tone was much better at the moment, no longer having the arrogance he had before. And within his gaze towards Kang Qian, he was full of anticipation. "Brother Kang Qian, I'll go and test it first." Niu San sniffed, greeted Kang Qian, and ran off to test as well. Senior brother Niu's true essence is thick. His strength is bound to be extraordinary. Huang Tao looked towards Niu San's back and laughed. With 10 times more true essence than a normal person, he should be at the Yuanying stage king level. Kang Qian sniffed and said indifferently. Huang Tao immediately looked at Kang Qian in astonishment, with his cultivation level that had comprehended his will. He could only tell that Niu San was extraordinary, but Kang Qian was able to accurately tell Niu San's strength, which made him a little shocked. He couldn't help but look towards Niu San, who was testing, the light in his eyes flickering. He wondered if what Kang Qian said was true. Boom! With a loud bang, Niu San finally tested. He struck out his strongest attack. His strong true essence erupted, causing the air around him to tremble, and the entire curtain of light immediately erupted with a brilliant silver light. King level, almost mid-king level. Huang Tao's eyes stared. It was just as Kang Qian had said. Niu San had the strength of a Yuanying stage sealed king. Senior brother has good eyesight. Huang Tao looked towards Kang Qian and praised with a smile. His eyes narrowed, and in his heart, he felt that the purple, closed youth in front of him was becoming more and more mysterious, which made him look forward to Kang Qian's strength even more. "Brother Kang Qian, why don't you go up and try as well?" Niu San walked back and said with a smile. Upon hearing this, Huang Tao looked towards Kang Qian with some anticipation, and even the others not far away all looked over. They were very curious about the mysterious youth who could make a genius like Xiaojin obey his words. Kang Qian nodded, but he didn't walk forward. He directly stood in place and used his right palm as a sword, slashing down at the light curtain not far away. Attacking from such a distance, this person is too domineering, isn't he? At such a distance, the attack is weakened by at least 30%. Moreover, he's striking at random, with no moves or patterns. Where is this a test? It's obviously just a perfunctory one. The crowd immediately murmured, looking at Kang Qian with some incredulity, thinking that he was too arrogant. So far, no one had tested their strength like this. Seeing Kang Qian test his strength in such a perfunctory manner, the crowd in the Great Hall murmured, everyone's faces filled with suspicion. Using such a casual attitude and testing out less than 10% of his own strength, even Huang Tao frowned, feeling that Kang Qian had been a little too generous. Is my brother's strength something you guys can question? He's stronger than me, even with 10% of his strength. To the skeptical gazes of the crowd, Little Gold proudly said, "Don't mind junior brother Little Gold. These people are short-sighted. How could they possibly see the strength of senior brother Kang Qian? Right, after senior brother Kang Qian's test, they'll know how powerful senior brother Kang Qian is." The group of junior disciples beside Xiaojin hurriedly agreed. In this dangerous place of the orthodox demon battlefield, they would be more able to survive if they had a strong person to protect them. Those new disciples were full of arrogance and couldn't pull down their faces to please Xiaojin. But the old people who had managed the cruelty of the orthodox demon battlefield didn't care about face, and one by one, they all took Xiaojin as their leader. Boom, right in the middle of the crowd's discussion, Kang Chon's internal true essence erupted. That vast true essence gushed out, carrying an unrivaled overbearing aura that shot up into the sky, causing the entire hall to vibrate. What strength!